dies card actually only uses, well, it uses the paper, it uses the stamps because I use the sentiment, and it uses the dies. But most of the work is done with the dies. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is create a sunset. And the sunsets are really easy to do with these brushes. I am going to start with Balmy Blue first. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I actually have to cut my sheet of cardstock because I didn't do that. I thought I would start and actually do things the way I would if I were creating the cards. So I'm going to start from scratch. And I know that this is going to be a layer that is 4 inches wide. And it's going to be 5 1/4 tall. And I will actually need another one of those same pieces for the inside. So I might as well cut that while I'm here. I will also need a card base of Misty Moonlight. Misty Moonlight is one of last year's new in colors, so our in colors carry over for 2 years. So I will cut this at 5 1/2. I will turn it and then use my scoring blade, the lighter color blade, at 4 1/4. All right, so we have our card base. I also had grabbed a scrap piece of Misty Moonlight. Those will be for the birds. And I also grabbed a piece of Early Espresso cardstock. That's going to be for my tree, the base here. All right, so let's set my cardstock aside, except for one of these pieces of white. I'm going to get my Balmy Blue out again, and I will ink it up with my blending brush. Get the, the bulk of that first layer because I want this to be very subtle. And I will just, I'll rub it here first to just get the, the harshness off it. And then very lightly add some color. And honestly, it doesn't look like I'm really adding much color at all. But I kind of want that because that's sort of how it looks in the, in a sunset. The blue is really not very prominent. So there we go for that. Now I want to bring in some other colors, and I've chosen Bumblebee, Flirty Flamingo, and Calypso Coral. I'm going to start with the Bumblebee. Again, to get some of the harshness off. And that is going to blend in with the blue. It's funny how differently things can look. Sunsets look very different from night to night, it seems. But I studied them a little bit. And this is how I see it more often than not. So I'll get most of this off. I'm going to a stronger color in one sense, so I don't need to clean it off too much. Again, I'm using a very, very light touch on this card. I am not going heavy at all. And I am going to finish down all the way down here. And then I will bring in my Calypso Coral, which is even darker. Just add a little bit more color down here. Some nights the sunset looks like cotton candy around here, and sometimes it looks a little bit more like it's on fire. I assume that's generally the way it is everywhere. But boy, I don't know if I like one over the other. That cotton candy look is really nice to me, and so are the fireball looks. So that's our background. And you can see that there is some blue on there. It's just not, it's not overt. And I don't know, let me pick it up. It's a little uneven in here, and that's a little on purpose. I didn't try to get it too even because I want, there's some atmosphere involved here, some very thin clouds, just a lot of stuff going on. So it doesn't have to be totally smooth. All right, we are done with those ink pads. Now what we need to do is we need to cut our tree base. And in order to get that to adhere to my cardstock very easily, I'm going to use my adhesive sheets. Now, you've heard me tell you this before, that our adhesive sheets no longer come with the word Sizzix on it because we don't partner with them anymore. But doesn't mean that we can't use up what we have, because this was a Stampin' Up! Product at one time. And the adhesive sheets that we have now are still going to be the same. So I'm going to peel this off. And this part is the sticky part. The Sizzix part is the part you throw away. I don't know what the new ones say now. I'm going to adhere this on. And it's okay that my piece of Early Espresso is larger than the sticker sheet, because I don't need 100% of it stuck down. It's okay if the limbs at the end aren't. And I'm going to also put that piece there. Now, because when I'm running my dies through the machine, I don't want my machine to get all gummed up. I'm going to take this little extra piece off here. So I've got my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. If you have the large one, works the same way as the mini one. Sometimes the layers are a little bit different, but the layers tell you what you need to do. So I know I need a #1 plate. So for my dies, I want my #1, and I want a #2, and then I will want whatever I'm running through. So I want the trees, which means I need to get out my dies that I put somewhere on top of my stamp set. So I need this tree die right here. And it actually barely fits on here. And that's all right. Kind of planned it that way anyway. We'll run this through. Sheila says, "Oh no, LOL." Yeah, this is my life. This is how I am all the time. She kind of knows that too. I'll find it eventually. If you saw my desk, you would know that I don't actually throw a lot of stuff away. So I should have probably run this through twice. It would have come out a little bit easier, but there's a lot of intricacy in here. And when I did this the first time, I didn't actually use the adhesive paper, which is why I'm using it now, because it's way easier to deal with it afterward. I mean, deal with it now and be able to stick it down easily. I cannot get my thumbs to work. And stuff in envelopes all day for my other job. Oh, here we go. We'll do it the easy way. So now we've got that beautiful tree out. Just want to make sure all the little pieces are gone, which take that one out, and it is. So I will need my base here. Now notice I'm putting this on first before I put on my my grass. And that's because I want it to look like it's growing up out of the grass. Oh, and it just sticks down so nicely. Before I was using this fine tip glue pen, and although I like this, you know what? This is so much easier. So much easier. All right, so now how do we do the grass? Well, we have to get out our cardstock. I mean our designer series paper. And again, remember, this looks like it's evergreens, but it's really not. Not for us. I'm going to take this big piece right here. Now, you could actually put more grass underneath, or a solid layer underneath with this outline, and then this over the top. But I kind of liked just having this top layer. If you want it to stick down nicely again, that's right, you'll want to use some of this paper. It's adhesive paper. So let's peel it off. Where it says peel here, cannot get my fingers to work. All right, there we go. I'm just going to stick this piece right over it. Now again, I don't care if not all of this fits on the piece of adhesive. I think most of it's going to here, but as long as most of it sticks, it'll all stay down. Well, let's go ahead and run this through again. And my paper is a little too wide, so I'll have to go off camera and trim it down a little bit. Too wide to go through my, there we go. It was too wide to go through my machine. Make sure I know where the adhesive back is, and oh, I just saved myself a lot of hassle because I noticed it was wrong. There we go. Put this on top. Come on, go through. Let me, oh, I see what the problem is. Too close to the edge here. It doesn't want to feed through. We'll back it up a little bit. Long and skinny. Sometimes just doesn't want to play nicely. There we go. Crank that through. We'll take it off. And again, sometimes I just find it's easier rather than, I mean, I can pull it out like this. There's a lot of little bits in here, so I could get my brush out. Now this tip does not go with, so there's one of these tips that go on your take your pick tool, but this is how they used to come. In fact, I have two of them. See, I just stick one in there. And you can just rub back and forth on this, and it kind of takes those extra bits out. Helps them fall right out. And because there's a little adhesive on some of these, some of them will stick a little bit. So they just might need a little help out with your fingers. All right. Now let's peel it off. This is when I wish I could grow fingernails, but and I suspect it'd get in the way other ways. All right, so I think I've got all those pieces out that I need. I've got one little part here. Let's bring my tree back in. And just put it right on over the top there. Now mine's going off the side a little bit, and that's all right because it is bigger than the tree. So there's my little tree. Now what I did on this other one, and I'm not going to do it here for the sake of time, but on my other card, let me see if I can find it so I can show you. On my other card, it looks like the leaves are a little bit more full. I didn't cut another piece. All I did was take some of this and run a little bit of it through. I said I wasn't going to do it, but you know what? Let me show you what I mean. So there's still some pieces here with adhesive on it, right? In fact, let me cut this off so you can see. I'm cutting it off right at the adhesive. So there's still some scraps in here. And I'm not going to waste them. I'm going to make a fuller tree simply by running this through again. I'm even going to cut up these larger pieces here, and I'm just going to lay this die right over those, not in any particular spot. and I'm going to run it through again. So you can see that, well, it's hard to see right now because I don't have a lot of the stuff off it, but so this sort of fell off on its own. I take some of this stuff out. I've got this other piece right here. Okay, and then I've got this piece right here. So there are some straight edges, and if you don't like such a straight edge, honestly, you're not going to be able to see it once it's on the tree. It kind of blends in, but if you don't like so much of a straight edge, you just tear it off. And this happy accident, as Bob Ross would say, just came about because I thought, oh, it looks a little bare there. What can I do? And I didn't want to waste too much of this nice paper. I do have a problem hoarding designer series paper. I'm trying to get better at it. So I am using it, but I'm trying to not use it, wastefully. All right, let's see. And a couple straight edges there. A little too straight of an edge there, so I'm just going to rip some of that off. But look, when you put it over, you can't tell that there's any straight edges there. And it just fills it out a little bit nicer. And the other thing I did was, if there was a bare spot that I really didn't like, that's where I put a bird. But since I don't have birds tonight, I guess there's not going to be a bird going. Let me just, for a second, hop on over to the other side of my room and see if I can find where my birds are. And wouldn't you know it, I did, because I used my larger Stampin' Cut and Emboss the first time on this. So your birds, it's a 2-for-1 die. Now remember, I already put them over here. I attached this onto this area so that I could get some sticky on it. We're going to just bring this back one more time and run it through. The adhesive sheets make this so easy. It was really much more time consuming when I had to actually apply the glue. I'm sorry, I'm running this backwards. Put the handle on the wrong side. All right. And so my birds are in here, and I'll probably just need my take your pick tool to poke them out. Now I saw online the other day, the birds are from this set too, Anne. They come in that beauty of the, they come in the Beautiful Trees dies. I saw somebody the other day that if you wanted to put an eye on your bird, through this hole and through this hole does it. I thought that was genius. They made the holes in the perfect spot for the eyes. But if I'm going to bring this a little bit closer, can you see there's detail on here? There is that little dot that I just put on the eye, but also there's nice detail on the wing. It really looks embossed. Since it's got adhesive on it, very easy to adhere this. Let's put that one there. And let's put this one on that limb right there. I don't know what kinds of birds they are. They look blue to me, so they're bluebirds for me. They look blue because I made them blue. You could make them cardinals if you wanted to, or they can just be random birds. Now, what am I missing? I am missing the grass. So in order to get the grass, I just started with a sheet of this paper, and I need a nice clean edge, so I'm going to go off camera and just cut my clean edge for a little bit. Now I know that this is 4 inches wide, so I'm going to make this 4 inches as well. And then to cut the, so it's now 4 inches. And then all I did was I took some scissors and just, you don't want to be too straight about it. And so there you have your grass. Put a little adhesive on the back. And line it up. There we go. All I need to do now is stamp. So I took the You Truly Inspire Me for the last one. Let's see. Thinking of you, I believe in you. Hello, thank you. Friendships refresh the soul. I'm still going to stick with You Truly Inspire Me. I think this would be a nice card to encourage someone. We're going to mount that, and let's see. We could go with, what color ink? We could go with Misty Moonlight. We could go also with, you know what? I'm taking care of this guy before I lose him again. How about that? All right, I'm going to put him in with the stamp set. There we go. You Truly Inspired Me. We'll put her right down here. And your card is almost finished. So this is a note card for someone. If I wanted to stamp an inside sentiment, I might do the Friendships Refresh the Soul, but I don't think that really, that doesn't work on the inside of that card, does it? I think the friendship sentiment actually goes with, you know, something for the front. I don't think it's the side, so. And I'm using this. So if you stick your Stampin' Seal down and you're like, oh no, it's not quite where I wanted it. I learned a trick the other day. Now, because this stuff sticks really well, what you can do is you can kind of open it up a little bit, and if you just breathe on it, it moistens it up. It's kind of like, you know, the old-fashioned way of how you steamed open a letter that you weren't supposed to read. And you just slowly and patiently do that, and it comes off, and you can stick it back on. It is fantastic. So there is the outside. Let's do something for the inside. Now for the inside, and I haven't tried this yet because you know I left my other inside naked. But what we could do is we could stamp a tree. And I just dropped my little birdie dies because that's where I put them. Let's go ahead and get out this tree. I'm going to show you how to make a multicolored tree on the inside. All right. I found my birds. I picked them up. They're safe. Now I need to get my big blocks out. All right. So here I have this, and we will need early espresso. You know what? I would probably actually, if I'm going to stamp the inside of this, I would probably go ahead and cut another piece of paper to go over it. So there's a little one right there. If you look in your die set, you could probably do a tree, a solid out of this other paper. Or, I don't know what I want to do. See, I didn't think about this. I didn't think of it in advance. So let's go ahead and add some color in a different way. Let's take some of these trees here. And there's two, it's like a two-step stamping set right here. There's two that I'm going to use, and they are roughly the same size. So you need a block that fits them. And I am going to start with the one that's a little more bold. And let's go ahead and get out our bumblebee color. And we'll put that as a base down there. That's pretty all on its own. But we're not going to leave it all on its own. Let's put on some other colors. Let's try stamping with the Calypso Coral. But I actually want to do Calypso Coral, and I want to do another color as well. I'm going to start with a Calypso Coral and stamp that over here. And so you have now a couple different tones on that tree on the inside. And I think I'm going to go with Cherry Cobbler because I love Cherry Cobbler in the fall. Not the food, but the trees, the colors. So now you have all sorts of colors on that tree for the inside. Pretty easy with those two stamps. I'll just put this right on the inside. Ta-da! So I just love how you can't actually tell that this was, you know, it was sort of intended to be evergreens, but you can't tell. And look at how much depth and dimension it gives the leaves in this tree. It really makes it look very round.